Hello and welcome to the Video Game Town Hall Podcast, the podcast for the website videogame.town. I am your host and the mayor of Video Game Town, Jared Russo, and here with me today is a very special guest. This man has been writing for well over a decade at this point. He's co-hosted podcasts. He has put his foot in both the journalism and PR camps, and he thinks that Chris Redfield from Resident Evil could play right guard? Unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Franklin II, how are you doing, sir?
I'm great, man. That's a great intro, and a hell of a pull. That actually happens to be my favorite of all the podcast episodes that I've done.
That's such a brilliant idea.
Yeah, we can definitely get.
It's so smart to want to think like, well, I've seen Mario in 3-on-3 on a basketball court. Like, what if I could draft Coltrane to be like inside linebacker?
Yeah. No, that was an absolutely nuts episode. And yeah, I mean, I'd love to go into like how it came about with you, since you brought it up, because I can't get enough of talking about that one. I wish I could do it again.
All right. So for anyone listening who doesn't know, Anthony did a podcast idea that I think is brilliant, in which him and a friend, Kendall,
yes,
drafted a football team, 11 on 11, with like a kicker, so special teams, and they drafted video game characters, so like Sonic at wide receiver, or like Master Chief at safety, and just who would have the better team. Your team was the better one.
We did a poll. We did a Twitter poll after that episode dropped, and my team did win.
Yeah. You had Kratos. You won hands down. And so I actually have a question to start you off with. As a fellow ball knower, and I mean that in any sense of a sport with a ball.
Right.
For some reason, in the last 20 years or so, there has been a major decline in the number of sports games released. And I think that the number of arcade sports games has vanished. And it's only simulation sports games and pretty much like one major franchise for one sport. I am just so far out on sports games, whereas in my youth, they were everywhere. They were ubiquitous. There were so many different options. They were so much fun. And then once consolidation and all these companies sort of bought up licenses, I just don't think sports games are, it's like, I don't even understand them, because it's like, you're not going to be able to replicate the real life sport. It's just like a weird conflict of interest. Like if I were to ever pick up NBA 2K, for example, I want to hit every three as Steph, knowing
Right.
that in real life, he does not hit every three. And I want to win every game, knowing that the Warriors do not win every game. It's just like those two things like can't gel together.
So,
do you have a problem with this incongruity of sports games and watching sports?
So it is funny because it's something I actually wrote about when I was at Punish Backlog, or at least to an extent, where sports games aren't teaching the sport. And because of the consolidation, like you said, EA kind of started it. Like 2K blew things out the water with 2K5, and we've gotten to a point now where we're 21 years out and nobody has let that game go. We should all let it go because we're never getting it back. But I understand why, because that was an era of sports gaming where you could get everything you wanted out of it. For people who didn't want to go simulation, you had NFL Blitz. You had like NBA. I think NBA Showtime was a game.
Yep.
The NBA Jam likes. You had NBA Street.
Oh, I love
You had
that.
NFL Street. Right.
They were
And
great.
you had everything that you could possibly want out of that. And because there was so much money in the competitive side of it, and people saw that early with Madden, it once people could follow the money, and you see it in the industry as a whole now. Anytime somebody can follow the money, they're going to do that, and to hell with everything else that surrounds it. So we get to a place where 2K5 comes out for $20, blows Madden out the water. EA says, we're not going through that again. Here's an exclusive deal with the NFL. And that was kind of the beginning of things, where now you look up and people don't even realize it. There is no exclusive deal for the NBA. And yet all we have is 2K.
Well,
That is
EA is to blame
mind.
for that. EA is to blame for that. They
are.
Yeah, try to release a game and then they like pulled it at the last second.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And people don't realize, anybody right now, as a matter of fact, EA could still make the game. They actually still have a licensing deal with the NBA. There's nothing stopping them from making a game other than being scared.
Yeah, they won't.
And you can see that with the Run. the run got next was just going to be an Indy 3-on-3 street ball roguelite made by people who worked on the Street Series, and then they ended up getting the NBA license, and it's gone from there. But the problem that I've always had with it was it's not fun to just be a franchise mode player or just be a simulation game player if that's not your thing. I love simulation games, but I want to play arcade stuff too. But I know people that don't want to touch it. Like you said, if I want to go out there and I just want to bomb from three is Steph and I want to go 30 for 30 from the field, I should be able to do that. But in order to do that in 2K, you got to turn the sliders all the way up. You got to turn it down to rookie, and you're throwing up 300 points. And it's like, but how much are you enjoying that? And we're missing a significant part of what makes sports gaming fun when we just shoehorn simulation into everything and we don't even try to do the arcade thing.
Yeah, it's an impossibility in my mind to pick up a Madden or NBA or NHL or MLB and even like remotely resemble a real game with real scores and like real injuries and real like momentum shifts because you're like you strip out the injuries and you strip out like timeouts for the most part. And then it's like, well, in most games, if I'm Kratos, I'm killing everything and I'm feeling awesome. And I
Mm.
can't do that unless I manipulate the sliders and change the difficulty and everything. Because in most games, like if I can do it, I can do it. Like my skill set will not be sort of like pulled back by the restraints of like, well, he's only a 40% shooter from the line. You're like,
Right.
you know what I mean? It's like if I hit the button at the perfect time, that should go in. But I know that the formulas, are, well, he's only a 50% from the field kind of guy. So half the time it's got to, and it's just like, I always have an issue with these games and I never have fun in the way that I should, unlike a Mario sports game, which like give me more Mario sports games.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
I've been dying to see an actual Mario basketball game that isn't on
Thank
the
you.
DS.
Thank
I
you.
think there was one on the 3DS. It was either the 3DS or the DS, but there was one on that system, and they've never gone back to it.
I think there were two. There was one on the DS. It was like 3-on-3 hoops, and then there was a 3DS game that was a Mario Sports mix that had a
Yes.
basketball with like equestrian horse racing and some other stuff.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
not talking to the choir. You're preaching to the preacher, dude. I've been yelling about this for years. I want Mario football. I want Mario basketball. I want Mario baseball back.
Think about how absurd it is we haven't gotten a Mario football game. Like all of those characters they just shoehorned in the Mario Kart world. We have 22. Like, let's just make this happen.
Charge and Chuck. That's your line.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I drafted Bowser in my draft, so I know this can work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird to just kind of look at things and just like nobody's having fun anymore. And that sucks.
Well, also microtransactions and like the amount of sponsorships that they shove into these things. I mean, annual releases, they could just be roster updates. They could just be DLC, but like that's never gonna change. They did bring back college football.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
I did
lie.
too. I did
I
too.
enjoyed
But
it. But it still don't hit the same. Like
yeah,
but it's just a particular feeling that you got. And I mean, people can call it nostalgia all they want, but the fact of the matter is that when you booted up NCAA '04, it was something different
yeah,
about playing that, knowing that you had other options.
yeah. No, you're 100% correct. It seems like the market has gotten rid of competition and everyone has just sort of rested on their laurels and there are just fewer games out and it's only the gun and ball gamers who will just buy these things and it seems like they're just sort of catering to those casual audiences and it's like the people who are in and there's no attempt to make that genre of video game as big as it used to be, where there was like golden T arcade machines everywhere, and there
Yes.
was NFL Blitz machines everywhere, and it was NBA Jam, and like I would play tennis games, I would play golf games, I would play boxing games. I like those. They're gone. They're all gone.
Yeah. Like nobody cares. Like you get a golf game now and it's like, oh, okay. And you just kind of move on, you know. I think there's a 2K20 there's a PGA 2K 25 26 coming out, I think within the next month or two. Nobody cares.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
never
I
used
didn't
to be
even
the
know that.
case.
I didn't know that. I knew there was like maybe a Hot Shots golf, but like I don't think like that series has like sort of been
It's not what it
anything.
used to be.
Yeah. I mean, there's a new Mario Tennis coming out. And out of all the Mario sports games, I was like, really tennis? That's
It's weird that tennis is the one that seems to have stuck. to at least to Nintendo. Like that, and they were good games. It was just I don't know. That one was never the one that was interesting to me. I enjoyed the soccer game. I
Strikers,
enjoyed
yeah.
Strikers. Yeah, I enjoyed Strikers. And I'm with you. I want a baseball game back. I want another
Yeah.
one of those. But Nintendo's never been particularly good about catering to its fans.
No, they're doing their own thing. They have their own ideas and they'll never listen and they'll just come out with like, "Hey everyone, like here's this weird thing we made. It's called Arms." And you're like, "Okay, I guess
Yeah,
they made Arms." But for me, there's now a really hard crux of there's the GameCube NSO. So they could put Toadstool Tour, let me say that correctly. Um Power Tennis, the baseball, the original Strikers, I think is already on there. Like you could put these
yeah.
old Mario games on the NSO, but they probably just want to make a new one that's not as good and sell it for full price and go that route.
It's so weird the way they handle things because Nintendo is, I think, out of the big three, hands down, the best at just flat out still being fun. But they're the absolute worst at just recognizing, like, here's $7 million you have right here in front of your face. All you got to do is take it. They don't want to do that
No,
because I'll admit I grew up a Nintendo kid. That's always going to be my thing forever. I'm a big Zelda guy. I'm a big Metroid guy. I'm part of the problem. If they come out, there's rumors of the Nintendo Direct next week. If they came out and said, "Hey, here's Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD," they're $80. I'm gonna get it. I'm sorry. I guess I'm proud of the problem. I'm gonna get it.
shame.
The issue just that they don't seem to want to do the things that I don't want to say put them in our good graces, but they just don't want to do the things we want them to do. And it's so weird. Like they're diametrically opposed to just doing the sensible thing.
There must be a dartboard and they throw darts and it must hit the dumbest ideas and they said, "Well, it hit the dartboard. We got to do it, guys.
It's the South Park manatee thing with them.
We have to make a Drag X Drive, a murder ball sim, and we have
Or,
to use the Switch 2 mice."
make people pay $10 for a tech demo.
Oh my God, don't even get me started. All right, so speaking of Nintendo, you mentioned that you liked Metroid. What are your feelings on Metroid Prime 4 Beyond?
So I actually just got started on it. Um, I have actively avoided almost all discourse on it. Um, because
That's bold.
I've been waiting, we've all been waiting. It's been 8, 9 years since it got announced. It's
Yep.
gone through two different development cycles
Yep.
and all of this. And I've just been waiting for the game forever. And I wanted to go into it, with the least amount of poison in my system possible. And I want to say about an hour into it, and I'm not feeling it. It's not bad, but it doesn't feel like a Metroid game. Like you tear through the Federation, and get the first boss out the way, and then you're transported to like this bright and beautiful world. And that's just not Metroid. Like the first place I want to go is a depowered Samus. I need to be somewhere that's dark, and I feel like I'm in danger of getting my ass kicked at any second. And I don't feel that. Um, and then there's the issue of it just kind of, it's really a product of its time. Like had this come out 5 years ago, I don't think people would have an issue as bad as they do with Miles McKenzie, and the other characters. I don't think that would be nearly as bad a problem. But because it's come out now and we've had the whole like Forspoken thing and everybody's like done with Joss Whedon and his overly ironic dialogue, we got it now and it feels like we got transported back to like 2010. And it's weird, but like right now it's it's tolerable. Like I can get over it because I'm recognizing that it took 8 years to make it, and it went from was I think Team Ninja was working on it at first, um, to going back to Retro Studios. So it is what it is. But right now, it's a technically good game. Like I don't think it's flawed, um, gameplay wise. It's just I don't have that Metroid feeling yet, and I'm waiting for that to click.
Well, it should surprise no one that I agree with you, but what's interesting is that I don't agree with it doesn't feel like Metroid because an hour in you might feel that way, but you get 10 hours in and you're going to go, "Oh, I've played this game before. This is too familiar. There are too many upgrades and unlocks that are exactly the sort of same things I've done before."
Mm.
The level design and the sort of like the map, and it all feels overly safe and overly familiar. And it's fine. It's a perfectly fine game. It's okay. You can have fun with it. It looks great. It runs great. But there will come a point where just say to yourself, like, this really did feel like it is a 10-year-old game and it went through development hell and it got rebooted and they said we have to get it out the door. And there's really no new ideas. Yeah, I'm not used to there being a lot of talking in my Metroid games. That wasn't even like the sort of biggest like weak point. But if you keep going, you're gonna be like, oh, I remember this, and then you're gonna be like, oh, I remember all of this.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
and that's, I mean, I'm hoping to get some of that, but yeah, I don't want to get that far into it where it's like, oh, this okay, we could have just remastered 2 and 3 and kept it moving.
Well, speaking of which, I don't know if you saw the news.
I
Well,
did.
you did?
It hurt my feelings.
Why? Because they're gonna slap uh Prime 2 Echoes onto NSO and
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah. Which is wild because I mean, for a shadow drop, I think Metroid Prime Remastered actually did pretty well sales wise. Like they don't have a reason to go, this wouldn't work. And everybody was begging for it the moment we got Prime 1. And they just went, you know what? Here's 2 in the NSO, keep your subscription going and you'll still have it.
I,
And to
it
drop it with Pikmin 2 was weird. Like if you're gonna do Prime 2, you might as well do Prime 3 at the same time.
well, Prime 3 is a Wii game and we haven't gotten there
Oh yeah,
yet.
dang, it is a Wii game. I
I'm sure they'll
forgot about
charge us
that.
an arm and a leg for Wii games.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that'll be extra $60 on top of the
yeah, really.
yeah.
And Pikmin 2, it's like they already had a Pikmin 1 plus 2 collection for
Yeah,
Switch.
exactly.
So I don't listen. Wind Waker they put on NSO. Where's the Wii U HD? You know what I mean? Like there's just so many like odd contradictory things that they do. That dartboard that they're throwing ideas at must really really suck
It's a
because
bad one.
I want the dartboard to have things like um, Paper Mario goes back to being an RPG, or Mother 3. How about Mother 4? You know, like they can have great ideas on the dartboard, but they're just throwing ideas at stupid things on the dartboard.
Yeah, it's funny you brought up Wind Waker on the GameCube because I, in a way, I'm actually glad that that ended up there, and it's more so because I like looking like my little cousins and stuff who know that I write about video games, and I tell them about stuff, and I'm like, look, I don't think you understand how easy you had it with this version of the game. Now you get to suffer the same way I did, and I love Wind Waker. I think it's a Hall of Fame Zelda game, but that damn Triforce Peace Quest was about as tedious could get. And I can't wait for them to come complaining to me about why it's just dragging the way it is.
Yeah, it's a real slog at the end, which is why like quality of life improvements are so needed because there are a lot of games that don't hold up. They don't control well. They don't. The camera's
Yeah.
bad, or like if heaven is listening, if there's ever a Bloodborne anything, don't make me grind for blood
Oh,
vials. Don't make
oh
me
man.
grind for Quicksilver bullets.
Yeah, we're never getting that.
I
That's
know.
that's up there with the next Game of Thrones book. Like it's just never
It's
happening.
just never happening. No, I understand.
But no, I mean I'm with you. I mean any little hint of anything, I'm like, is it really? No, I know better. I know better. But I'm always gonna have that little 1% of hope in my body.
There were two times that everyone collectively went, and it was when they first teased Sekiro at the Game Awards, and people thought it was like, wait, is that Bloodborne? And then the second time was when the Dusk Bloods trailer happened. People were like, wait a second, what is this? But then it turned out to be a completely different game. So
That and a Switch exclusive. That's the Switch 2 exclusive, right?
that is correct.
Yeah. I think there's a third time too, because if I remember correctly, there was a PlayStation advertisement they did about maybe a year and a half ago, where there was an explicit Bloodborne mention, and
Oh,
everybody
that's
was like,
right.
"Oh, they might actually do it,"
I remember this. Yeah, yeah.
and nothing came of it.
And then yeah, they were just nostalgia baiting. I remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
That
my
was rough.
goodness. So, all right. So speaking of things that we would want are like, um, are you predicting or anticipating anything this calendar year? Is there a game that has been actually announced that you're looking forward to, or is there something that you wish would be announced?
So I had heard for maybe it's just started popping up over the last year and a half. There were rumors about there was a Ocarina of Time remake.
Oh my God, dude! I just heard about this the other day, and I thought people were just making that shit up.
Yeah, no, because I vividly because I think I remember either I wrote about it or somebody I was with advice wrote about it. But it was actually a thing. Like people were legitimately like putting it out there like this could actually come. As far as games that I'm looking forward to, I have always had a really, really big soft spot for 007 Everything or Nothing. Um,
Ooh,
I
yeah. Now we're
think
talking.
that's the best James Bond game ever. I know people will say GoldenEye. GoldenEye does not hold up.
No, no, no,
And
no, no.
Perfect Dark was a far superior game.
GoldenEye does not hold up. Unfortunately, Nightfire is the best 007 game.
I loved Nightfire. I will never argue with anybody who says that. I loved Nightfire.
Yeah, but
Um,
I also loved a lot of those later James Bond games that just went under the radar.
yeah,
They were great.
yeah. Even the From Russia with Love when they
Yeah,
did.
that was good too. Yeah,
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to 007 First Light. Um,
nice.
I can't wait to get my hands on that. Just to see how they handle it. I mean, I've spent the last 12 years of my life with like overtly serious Daniel Craig Bond, which was cool. I loved Casino Royale. I thought it was great, but then it just got way too heavy over the next like three movies. And like James Bond's supposed to be fun. Daniel Craig's Bond wasn't fun. So I want to get back to that.
Okay, so you want the silly jetpack and going to the moon and guys with
Yeah, man.
metal teeth.
Look, man, when you talk about, I say the same thing with games that I do with movies, man. The sillier, the better. Like, you're not gonna find somebody that loves the Fast and the Furious series more than me, because I don't need my movies to be serious. I just want a good time. I tell people all the time, as long as something is blowing up and somebody's cussing a good amount, that's probably a good movie to me. I'm not here for Oscars. I'm here to have a good time.
Well, thankfully, the Oscars are slowly turning around to your concept of what a good movie is. Seems like the last few years they've more or less been like, you know what? Good popular blockbusters can get Oscar nominations and wins, but
Yeah.
uh, we're not here to talk about movies. We're here to talk about games. Let me quickly tangent to for anyone out there who made up this rumor about an Ocarina of Time remake. You're all manifesting something that doesn't exist, like you did with Final Fantasy VII, and you bullied Square Enix into making that game for real. Nintendo will not be bullied. So
That's a fact.
stop pretending they're going to remake the greatest game ever. They're going to do whatever horseshit comes to them in the middle of the night. Like they're going to wake up and go, Splatoon 3 spin-off. And then they'll make it and you go and that's it. That's your game for the year. Or they're going to go, Kirby Air Riders and then they'll just do that.
You are absolutely right. And it will not stop me from having hope because I, like you, believe that Ocarina of Time is the greatest game ever. That game is literally why we're talking right now. It is solely responsible for my career in games journalism and in gaming as a whole. So yeah, I will admit to bias when it comes to that game, but I'd love to see it, but I know better.
No. I don't think they have any interest in doing things like that.
Like I said, there's so much they could do where people would just throw bags of cash at them. That's the one thing we know about Nintendo. They're not going to purposefully put out bullshit. At least they're not going to try to. They'll put in the effort to give us quality. It's just like all you got to do is give it to us. But we'll do the same thing the Nintendo fans have been doing for years. We'll watch the direct and just hope and pray that that one last thing at the end doesn't turn out to be like the new Ice Climbers.
Honestly, I'd like to see what they could do with the new Ice Climbers. But no, I mean, we already know about Fire Emblem. We already know about like the sort of the first half of the year. But with Nintendo, they don't need the money. They're more interested in like keeping the brand a certain way and like doing things a certain way. And they're very precious about their IP and they're very conscious of like, okay, now it's time to drop a new Mario Tennis. Like everything is like according to like what they think. And
Yeah, they're the Steelers.
yeah. Wait, the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah. The Steelers have always had an established way of doing things. Even with Mike Tomlin, they made him run the defense they wanted him to run.
Boy, I'm thinking about this comparison. Are the Pittsburgh Steelers just Nintendo? The Steelers haven't been good for a very long time. And I don't mean good, you made the playoffs, you have a winning record good. Nintendo had like a couple years that were banger years. Like they were putting out game of the year. You know what I mean? Like they've had much more successful years very recently compared to the
Oh,
Steelers who have been on a treadmill of mediocrity.
oh yeah, no, no. If you give them, yeah, if you go in just like
success wise, but mentality wise, they're kind of
Mm.
like in lockstep as far as how they tend to get down. Like we do things our way.
This is such a loaded question. Who are the New York Jets of the video game industry? And I say that as a Jets fan. Oh, Konami. The answer is Konami.
Because I mean, honestly, for a while it was Capcom. I would have called Capcom the New York Jets
No, how dare you?
until they started remaking Resident Evil games, and they got right with Monster Hunter. Then
And
that
they
flipped
got right with
everything around.
Street Fighter. No, no, no. They've been on a hot
They've been
streak.
on a yeah, no, they've been on a tear recently. Before that, I would have called them the Jets.
And this
Yeah.
year could be the year of Capcom. Onimusha, Pragmata, RE9. They showed a new Mega Man game. Um, I'm not the biggest Monster Hunter person, so I'm sure they will continue to do things that people enjoy. I think Stories 3 is coming out,
That's coming up next.
and I would love to see Code Veronica or Zero. No, they're on a good path.
Yeah, yeah. No, I definitely like the direction they've taken now, and especially you look at the way like Resident Evil 7 was received, and like that
Franchise
seemed to put
saving.
the battery. Yeah, that put the battery in their back. We're like, okay, we got this again. We got this again.
They
Now,
have
if they could just give me Beautiful Joe back,
yes,
perfect.
yes. Oh, Beautiful Joe 1 and 2 are great. They have the engine, they have the creative teams, they put the right people in the right spots to work on these franchises. Just let the good times keep rolling. I mean, yeah, sure. Every once in a while they'll come up with a new IP, and you're like, all right, a cooperative shooter where you shoot dinosaurs through a portal, and it's like, you know what? I commend you for trying.
Yeah.
What was it,
But you don't
Exoprimal?
have to do that. Yeah, it was Exoprimal.
I mean, I would rather them try than
Yeah.
give us underbaked.
You see, that's the thing. You got to take your shots because I mean, you never know what could hit. And I think leaning too hard on your existing IP just leads you to end up putting out BS, and then you're right back to where you were before. So yeah, throw something out there to throw us off the scent a little bit, and then come back around with the sledgehammer.
Well, speaking of companies that put out the same IP over and over again, is Ubisoft the Cleveland Browns of the video game
Yes,
industry?
Yes.
I love Assassin's Creed 2, 4, and I even enjoyed Odyssey. I have no love for Valhalla. I did not enjoy that one at all.
Yeah, that was a little underwhelming. I like Brotherhood a lot. I like 2, obviously, and I liked Origins. I like that Egypt one.
You
That
don't
was
know
good.
Origin? No, Origins was good too. I did like
Yeah.
Origins.
Their over reliance on open world games where I'm gonna just slap everything down on the map. Like they've gone away from it a little bit, but they've almost pioneered it to a point where it's their brand. And on top of that, the fact that I think it was the CEO that came out and basically said people need to be okay with not owning games. Like, get out of my face with that.
Here's another free idea. Warner Brothers. Just remaster Shaolin Monks. Just give us Shaolin Monks.
Yes, yes, and leave Special Forces where it is. We don't need to bring that one back. But Shaolin Monks, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
I
Really
don't
just go
think they.
back and just give us remakes of like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, X-Men Legends games, I don't know, Time Splitters. Just like all these like great like B games like Mercenaries and Armed and Dangerous, Metal Arms. There's
Yeah,
like
that's what we're missing in the industry is those B-level games like
yep,
that. Because X-Men Legends 1 and 2 were excellent.
yep.
I don't think I've ever enjoyed a superhero game more than those two. And I loved Ultimate Alliance, but X-Men Legends just, man, that did it for me as a kid. And I really wish that I didn't get rid of those games. Like I have a drawer full of N64 and GameCube games, and I don't have either one of those, and I'm sick.
I mean, you could just emulate them. It's not like anyone's listening to this podcast. You can just
Oh,
pirate them.
I could, but that's just my stubborn habit of trying my best to continue to keep physical stuff because I'm so sick of the Netflixification of gaming.
I got burned real bad, and I tried to like get like a old Xbox 360 and like King Kong and like the Simpsons game and some things that like you can't play anymore, like that Wolverine's Origins game, and like
Yeah,
none of it worked. So I'm like, you know what? Like I don't know why I just don't resort to piracy. You know, like at least I
the
know those work.
the Jack Sparrow life has never done me wrong at any point. So
I remember the industry was so obsessed with used games, multiplayer codes in new game boxes, like always online DRM. anti-piracy measures, just like all these like weird things.
It it got so bad with them trying to get ahead of something that you like. We always say the internet is forever. There was nothing you could do about that. Just make the game and put it out.
Yeah.
And then just continue to make it available. Stop hitting a button so it's no longer available.
Or better yet, stop making these licensing deals in which it's like, well, we got to get rid of Forza because the cars, they like, what? I mean,
Yeah.
I like music. It's like just put the song in the thing and just let it be there forever. Like you don't have to take it off the market because it's like, all these songs aren't of it. I don't know. Put in new songs. Who cares? Tony
Yeah,
Hawk.
nobody's going to trip. Oh my God, that they screwed 3 and 4 up so bad that
Yeah, that pained
yeah,
me.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, just took everything out of 4.
but I could see something like Spider-Man 1 and 2, like those movie tie-in games, like never coming back because it's like they have people's likenesses in them, and like
Right.
that's probably a headache. Or it's like when they signed, it was only for these consoles, and like it wasn't in perpetuity forever.
Yeah. And I mean, do we really know how good Spider-Man 2 aged? It was incredible when it dropped. I haven't gone back to that one yet, so I don't know, but I'd be scared to go back to that.
I wouldn't. GoldenEye, yes. Spider-Man, no.
That's fair. Yeah, I tried GoldenEye on the NSO and I was like, oh,
Yeah, doesn't
this ain't
work.
what I remembered it to be. Yeah.
Well, Anthony, the time we have left, what games have you been playing recently?
I've been mainly getting into Red Dead Redemption on Switch 2. I wanted to try that out and see how it looked, how it ran. It looks incredible. I mean, you want to talk about a game that holds up. Red Dead Redemption still holds up. Gameplay wise, graphics wise, like I know I guess it's low hanging fruit to go, well, it's PS2 to Switch. It should look good. It's still like pulling it up on everything, handheld, dock, doesn't matter. Looks incredible, still plays well. So yeah, I'm digging back into that. That's one of those games I could replay forever. My backlog is, as any gamer, is ridiculously extensive. But I mainly, right now just trying to dig back into indie stuff, like I normally do. I'm big into like point and click games that are in the vein of like Adult Swim shows. So the game just dropped today is Earth Must Die. Um, I'm gonna pick that up pretty soon and get into that. Which is basically you're just like this idiotic like prince, and your father dies in this ridiculous like outer space attack, and you take over the kingdom. And he's got like a assistant. I think he calls Milky, and it's basically like a breastfeeding unit. It's just an absolutely ridiculous game, like humor wise. I'm really into stuff like that. I replayed the Holy Gosh Darn, which is another game kind of in that vein where you play as an angel in heaven and you're basically trying to rewind time to prevent the devil from sitting on God's throne in heaven, or else that destroys everything. Um, so yeah, a lot of backlog stuff, a lot of replaying things. Um, the one game that I'm probably going to spend the most time on though is probably going to be Metroid, just to kind of clear that one. Um, I want to get back into Returnal. I still haven't finished that, and I'm ashamed of myself. So that'll probably be next before I get around to Saros when that drops.
I wouldn't
But
feel
yeah,
shame over not finishing a roguelike.
well, see, that's the thing. The roguelikes are like my, if not one, the number two favorite genre. Because I like a challenge. I like pounding my head against something until I can get it to break. Which is why I played all of the Valkyrie boss in God of War like 75 times without a break until I beat her. Like I don't stop. Like I'm going to win or I'm going to pass out in this chair, and that's going to be the end of it. So that's for me. So when I say ashamed of it, it's more of a personal thing. I have competitive issues. I'm ridiculous.
A man after my own heart. Anthony, where can people find you on the internet?
I am mostly on Blue Sky now, at P Eagle 05. If you don't know that, I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, so just split it up like that. Philadelphia Eagle 05. That's where I'm at mostly. Yeah, I've left the hell site, so I'm not on Twitter anymore. But yeah, that's where I am. I'm talking games, sports, and trying to figure out why it took us so long to fire Kevin Patullo.
A former ex, Vice writer. who loves to complain on the internet about the Jets firing their offensive coordinator in video games, is also on Blue Sky, as is Video Game Town. Hey, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, man.
And we will catch you next time. But thank you for keeping it so cool with me, Anthony.
Appreciate you, man.
All right. See you next week.